Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun and exciting geometry class. Today we're going to be doing some constructions. Page number 224 in your book, 224. Actually, 223 is where we'll start. 223 is lesson 419, constructing a fourth proportional to three given lines. Whoa, that sounds challenging. Well, it's not too bad. Let's take a look at it. So we're going to construct, okay, again, that's what is construction. It is using just a compass and a pencil and a straight edge. So no rulers, no protractors, right? So we're going to construct these things using just our compass and our straight edge. So what are we going to do? We're going to construct a fourth proportional to three given lines. Well, maybe you're like, I don't remember what a fourth proportional is. Well, we learned about it. You can go back in another video and watch that. But a fourth proportional simply means the missing piece of a proportion. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, something like this. If I have 1/2 equals 3 over x, the fourth proportional is that x right there. If you remember, we also talked about what a mean proportional is. So 1 over x equals x over 4, for example. That's what's called a mean proportional. And we'll get to that on how to do that in another construction. But this one is not a mean proportional. It's called a fourth proportional. So make sure you remember where that x goes in the fourth proportional. It's basically in the fourth spot. So if you wanted to number these, this is like the first spot, second spot, third spot, fourth spot right there. So how would we solve this? Okay, if you're doing a proportion, then you just do the means times the extremes, right? And so that's going to be 1x equals 2 times 3, or x equals 6, okay? And so we know that right there, that is going to be 6. Now, that makes sense when you're solving that mathematically, but how are we going to solve this doing a construction? Well, let's go ahead and look at that and work on that. So here on the screen, I have my lines drawn A, B, and C. You can kind of follow this in your book on page 223. And so what I want to do is I want to take these lines right here, these A, B, and C, and I want to get these lines onto, I want to get basically a D line. I want to get my X, my missing line length. So the way that I would do that is I would just take, first of all, I'm just going to take and we're going to start off at a point. So let's put a point right here and we'll just call this, our point A. Okay, so we'll call this point A. So we're going to start with point A. Now what I want to do is coming off of point A, and you can really do this in any direction that you want to. I'll kind of make it look like the book. What I want to do is I want to make line A, I want to measure line A, and I want to make line A coming off of this point A. So we'll go ahead and measure this. All right, so there it is. I'll lock that in. And now I want to come down here and I want to draw a line, or I want to draw a mark that I can draw a line through. So there's a mark, okay? And now I want to take my ruler and I actually want to make a line go down there, okay, and go through that. It doesn't matter exactly where, but we want to make our line go through that. So I'll change this color in this line. We'll make this one a blue line. Start here, and we'll go all the way down. Now, why did I extend it through? I extended it through because we're also going to come back up here and we're going to put our next line on there. So our next line is our B line. So come up here to your B, and we're going to take this and we're going to measure our B line. We'll lock that one in. Now we're going to come right back down here to this point that we made, and we're going to put a mark on our line where the B line goes through, okay? All right, so we've got two lines on there. Now, let's kind of think. Let's kind of go back and forth to what we were doing before. So if you think about this, this is like our first piece, and this is like our second piece. This is like our A and our B. So if we go back to where we were before, this is our 1, and this is our 2. Okay, so then we're going to have to put a 3 over here, and then we'll be able to find the x, and we'll talk about how we do that. So now what we want to do is we want to just basically put another line on here. And it doesn't really matter where the line goes necessarily. It just matters that it's a different direction and a different angle from the original. Okay, so we're just going to put one randomly kind of going. And again, it doesn't matter. We'll put one going down here. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to take and we want to put this C line, the C point, on that secondary line. Because again, it's like we're going over to the other side of the proportion. So let's come up here and let's measure C. All right, so we'll lock that in and we'll bring this down and we are going to put C right here on this line. Okay, so we'll just put a mark for where C was. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different than kind of the mathematical part of it. It's similar, but it's different. What we want to do now is we want to take a line and we want to connect A and C. And there's different ways to think about this, but you can kind of, in your mind, you can kind of think, all right, this is kind of like the equal sign, if you will, combining those two things. Let's make this line green. And we'll run this line right across there. Okay. And again, you can keep going with that line. It doesn't have to be any certain, distance or anything. So you could extend it out past the line. That would be fine. Now what I want to do is I want to take this. Again, this is proportional. These are all proportional. So I want to take this angle right here. And I want to make a parallel line off of this because we learned something that when parallel lines are intersected by a transversal or two transversals, then they make proportional sections of lines. So if we'll take and if we will go ahead and copy this angle right here. So let's go ahead and try to copy this angle. How are we going to do that? Well, you remember how to copy angles, okay? So we'll copy this angle right here and put it right here. And then we're going to want to come up here and we're going to want to measure this. Okay. Measure this. We'll lock that in. We'll bring it down here. And we will put our line right there. Okay. Now, basically we have this copied, but we need to draw our line through there. So it should be pretty close to where my ruler was already set up, right? Because my ruler was at the same angle. Because again, we want to make it parallel to this line. So there we go. My ruler was already set up. Your ruler won't be set up, right? You can't draw a parallel line like that. I can because mine was kind of locked in there. So if you see, we have parallel lines here. And what that does is at this point right here, we can go ahead and label this up over here. So we'll label this as, this is point A, this is point B, okay, so this is line A, line B, if you will. So this is line A, this is line B, this is line C, and then this would be line D right here, okay? And so that's the way that works. And now we have a proportional segment in there. So to create a proportional segment, all you're going to do is make a parallel line. How do you make a parallel line? By copying the angle. All right, let's go ahead and look down here and do construction number 18. Construction 18, to divide a given line into parts proportional to any number of given lines. So if we have 3 given lines, we're going to make it into 3 proportional parts. If we have 5 given lines, we're going to make it into 5 proportional parts. All right, so what we want to do here is we want to chop this line, this AB line, into proportional segments that are proportional to little letter A, B, and C right here. So the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to put our ruler here, and we're going to draw a line coming down from A. And you can really put it at whatever angle you want. It doesn't really matter. I'll change this color. We can do this blue line here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to make this line coming all the way down there. Okay. The only reason why we're making that line is because we're going to be drawing some angles from that line. Now I want to take my 3 line segments that are up here and I want to put them on this A line right here. So I'll come up here and I'm just going to measure all of these different little segments. So let's measure A. Lock that in real quick so it doesn't move. So let's go ahead and put A down here on the line. Then we'll get B. Grab that one real quick. And we'll put him right here. And then we'll come back up here and we'll get C. And we'll put C on there as well. So basically what we're doing is we're putting all 3 of these lines that are up here at the top. These are our given lines. Somebody gave those to us. You wonder where those came from. Somebody gave those to us. All right, we barely fit that one on there. Perfect. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to copy angles. We want to make them proportional. So what you would do is you would come here to your ruler and we are going to connect our last line, our C point here, with our line here with the end of the line, B, right? Because again, these are both given lines. They gave us AB and they gave us these other lines. So we'll make this green again and we'll connect this down here to this. All right, so you notice we kind of made a triangle right there. And what we want to do now is we want to copy this angle right here. We want to make parallel lines here. And when we make parallel lines, that is going to make these sections on AB proportional to these up here, A, B, and C. All right, and for some reason I can't get rid of this line over here. I don't know what happened, but it just likes to be there. So we're going to let them stay there, I guess. All right, so what I want to do is come over here, and I want to basically draw an arc. And it doesn't matter how big our arc is, we're just going to draw an arc that's going to go all the way to those two. And we are going to reproduce that arc here at all of our points. Okay? So we'll go there, and then we'll go here, and we just want to reproduce that same arc everywhere. Now what we want to do is we want to measure the arc. So we'll come down here to these 2 spots, and we'll measure that arc for its distance. Then we'll come here, and we'll put it on this spot. There it goes. And connect that. And then we're going to come up here. And we're going to connect this arc. There we go. And now what we would do is we would get our straight edge back out. And we would connect these. So we're going to connect our line there. And then we'll come over here and we will connect our line here. Now I add things off just a little bit, but not too bad. And there you go. There are your line segments up here. So these line segments up here at the top are going to be proportional to these line segments down here at the bottom. So that's all I have for you in this lesson. Hopefully, that made some sense to you there as we went through that. Just follow those steps along, and you should be able to do those. Mostly just focus on, okay, what am I doing? I'm copying angles so that I can get parallel lines. If I have parallel lines that are being crossed by transversals, then I'm going to have proportional segments. And that's kind of the short story there with those constructions. So if you'll remember that, I think you'll be able to do these. All right, that's all I've got for you. Hope you learned something. If you missed anything, make sure to slide it back, watch it again. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.